1.11 text 38. That is 1.11.38. Please repeat. Etat ishanam ishasya prakritisto api tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmastair yata buddhistat ashaya. It's on the screen here on top. Etat ishanamishasya prakritistopi tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmastair yata buddhistadashaya. Etat ishanam ishasya prakritistot api tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmastair yata buddhistadashaya. Very good. You have to put it here. Near the window. Near the window. Open the window. Window open. Anybody else want to chant? Etat, this Ishanam, divinity, Ishasya, of the personality of Godhead, Prakritistaha, being in contact with material nature, Api, in spite of, Tat Gunaihi, by the qualities, Na, never, Yujyate, is affected, Sada Atmastaihi, by those who are situated in eternity, Yatha, as is, Buddhihi, intelligence, Tat, the Lord, Ashaya, those who are under the shelter of. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, HH Bhakti Vinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation: this is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. Purport: in the Vedas and Vedic literatures, Shruti and Smriti, it is affirmed that in the divinity there is nothing material. He is transcendental, nirguna only. The supreme cognizant Hari, or the personality of Godhead, is the supreme transcendental person situated beyond the range of material affection. These statements are also confirmed even by Acharya Shankara. One may argue that his relation with the goddesses of fortune may be transcendental. But what about his relation with the Yadu dynasty, being born in that family, or his killing the non-believers like Jarasandha and other asuras directly in contact with the modes of material nature? The answer is that the divinity of the personality of Godhead is never in contact with the qualities of material nature in any circumstances. Actually, he is in contact with such qualities because he is the ultimate source of everything. Yet he is above the actions of such qualities. He is known, therefore, as Yogeshwara, or the master of mystic power, or in other words, the all-powerful. Even his learned devotees are not affected by the influence of the material modes. The great 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana all came from greatly rich and aristocratic families, but when they adopted the life of mendicants at Vrindavana, superficially they appeared to be in wretched conditions of life. But factually, they were the richest of all in spiritual values. Such Mahabhagavatas, or first-grade devotees, although moving amongst men, are not contaminated by honor or insult, hunger or satisfaction, sleep or wakefulness, which are all resultant actions of the 3 modes of material nature. Similarly, some of them are engaged in worldly dealings, yet are unaffected. Unless these neutralities of life are there, one cannot be considered situated in transcendence. The divinity and his associates are on the transcendental plane, and their glories are always sanctified by the action of Maya, Yoga Maya, or the internal potency of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are always transcendental, even if they are sometimes found to have fallen in their behavior. The Lord emphatically declares in the Bhagavad Gita that even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to a previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being engaged 100% in the devotional service of the Lord. Lord protects him always because of his rendering service unto him, and the fallen conditions are to be considered accidental and temporary. They will all vanish in no time. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणरघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। एतदीशनमीशस्य प्रकृतिस्तोऽपि तद्गुणैः न युज्यते सदात्मस्थः यथा बुद्धिस्तद आश्रया। Krishna is returning to Dwaraka after the war is over and is reinstated Yudhishthir Maharaj, or rather installed Yudhishthir Maharaj. And Yudhishthir Maharaj and the Pandavas and all of them even request him to stay back and not go, and then he stays back also to satisfy them. And then he is returning to Dwaraka. There's a beautiful chapter before this. Krishna is planning to leave, departure of Lord Krishna from Dwaraka. And then this chapter is entrance of Lord Krishna into Dwaraka. The feelings of many of these devotees, the Pandavas, and all of them is expressed very beautifully in the previous chapter. And how Krishna stays back, satisfies them, hears Kunti Devi's prayers, and their deep feelings of attachment for Krishna is described very nicely. Sometimes we may wonder why these things are being described. There is a story. The story is all about this. The story is about everybody's attachment for Krishna and his attachment for them. His great love for his devotees. This is the real rasa. See, Rasamalayam. Bhagavatam is described as Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. If you are a Rasika, you will be able to really enjoy the Rasika Grantha, that is Bhagavatam. If you simply want to read it for information, for Gyan, for that only, you will miss the main point. Main point is how Krishna is relating. It's all about relationships. There is so much talk about relationships everywhere. But nobody speaks about the Bhagavad, the Bhagavad Gita. It's all about relationships. It's all about our relationship with Krishna. When our relationship with Krishna is not there and it is not established, then every other relationship you have will suffer. It will never become fruitful. If you don't have relationship with the Supreme Absolute Truth, because you are a part and parcel of that Supreme Absolute Truth. If you don't have relationship, if you are cut off, every other relationship you try to establish will fail. Is designed to be temporary. It's designed to give you misery. All relationships are potential reasons for you to suffer. Because you can suffer only through relationships. You have relationship of possession for material objects and assets. You have relationship of possession for people. And you are getting some gratification out of that relationship. And that also will give you the greatest misery. So I was just seeing recently that we were looking into something about robotics and everything for a museum. And they showed me that, see Maharaj, what's happening in Japan. That they have the world's greatest robotics technology. And how they are manufacturing robots. And how Japanese men all buy female robots. They are very much into it. And they're replacing their relationship with human beings, because human beings demand a lot of things. It's a lot of in a personal relationship there's a lot of demand. But the robot can be programmed to exactly satisfy me without any demand. And the woman is just praising you and giving you everything that you want without any demand. No attention required for me. If you don't look at me also doesn't matter, because anyway I'm a machine. But since you want a machine only, here is a machine, and you're very satisfied with the robot. See, my wife is not at all like this. That's why I divorced her. Robot is better. But you fool, she's not a person. Actually, you're incapable of maintaining a relationship with a person, which means you will become very impersonal, which means you are not a human being very soon. You're another machine. You want a machine-like relationship, so you got a machine. The simple thing they don't understand. So you cannot avoid relationships in this world. You have to stop being a spirit soul, which you cannot. It's your nature. It's your nature to relate with people and enjoy that relationship. And when that relationship is based on Krishna in the center, it becomes highly enjoyable. That is what Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada has established. He has established a community of devotees, and he wanted that community to expand and envelop the whole world. Everybody keeping Krishna in the center. So these chapters are very sweet because they describe in depth what are the feelings of these people. You see, when he comes to Dwaraka, all the ladies go on the rooftop to see him. And then they offer prayers. And their understanding is so high, highly philosophical, plus at the same time deeply emotional and relational with Krishna. They're all ladies from Dwaraka. Very wonderful ladies, all married ladies, unmarried ladies, everybody together. They all have a relationship with Krishna. So they're going on the rooftop to see them because down it will be like mixing with the men and everything and too much of crowd and lots of things going on to welcome Krishna. So you go to the rooftops, you can peacefully see Krishna and enjoy. So they go to the rooftop and each one of them starts speaking, here is the absolute truth, the supreme person, the source of everything. And they know the philosophy of Krishna consciousness so well. So well. And then they say, he has stolen our heart. Very wonderfully they express. They know what they are doing and they know who Krishna is. They know who they are. They know the entire reality and the truth and they express their love for Krishna. This is very amazing, very educated class of devotees. All these ladies, they're expressing themselves. And then you can understand it is not simply some blind love or something. It's love with great education. They know fully well what they're doing, who Krishna is and who am I. And they know their situation very humbly. They are stating, I am simply your servant maid. And the Bhagavatam states that they became so fortunate to become servant maids of Krishna. I'm willing to serve you. So in that same chapter, you will see after taking the welcome, he glances at all of them on the rooftop and they become very happy. He recognizes everybody. Krishna recognizes. Then there are prostitutes who come and dance and pray to Krishna. And there's this whole thing mentioned in the Bhagavatam about prostitutes in Dwaraka who are all devotees of Krishna. It's very amazing. They're all devotees of Krishna and they come and offer their prayers to Krishna. And everybody in the community knows these are prostitutes. But they all got a right to express to Krishna their love and Krishna accepts this. So this is a very beautiful chapter. It describes how Krishna has relationships with everybody irrespective of their material occupation, of their material situation, and is reciprocating with all of them. With all of them. And here he comes back finally to his palace. Then he meets with all his queens. 16,108 queens. It's very amazing number. His family is very huge. He had 10 children from each of the 16,108 wives. And each of those children had children, 10 each. And the family of the Yadu Vamsha is very huge. And he is the central person in the whole Yadu Vamsha. It's very, very amazing description given. And the wives of Krishna, they are all so happy to see him after a long time because they were torn with separation. And they were smiling at Krishna and they were so shy and they were, seeing him after a long time, my husband. And they were expressing their deep emotions. After seeing all these things is what the shloka is. See, although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, Still, despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. And then we read this shloka today, Yeshat Ishanam Ishasya. This is a divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. So that's the point. The point here, there is no chance of anything material with the Supreme Absolute Truth. There's no material relationship. Everybody and anything and everything connected with Krishna is spiritually connected, transcendentally connected. Why? Because he is above the gunas, above the influence of matter. That's explained very nicely. He is the Lord of that. He is Lord of the gunas. Maya tyakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. Krishna is explaining that in Bhagavad Gita. That he is above the gunas and he is the master of the guna. So how will he be affected by anything material? So you can see that if you think that the relationship of Krishna with the gopis, with the queens in Dwaraka and all that, if you look at it materially, that is because of your problem. How you see it. And Krishna will never come within your understanding. That's the great flaw. All sorts of people write big commentaries on Krishna and how he's a historical personality and he was a great cowboy and he was a great lover of ladies and women and then he danced Raslila in the night and he was that, he was this. It's all materialistic impressions. None of them are true. They cannot get that rasa. They cannot get that understanding of the relationship of Krishna with devotees and with persons who are very transcendental. They will never be given that understanding. They will only by default understand it materially. So, Prabhupada is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no chance of them understanding anything with even academic qualification. Simple academic qualification, you cannot. So somebody may write, I've seen all of them writing great things and getting their PhD. Shishi Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, getting their doctorates on many aspects of the Purana and commentary on this and that and everything. But none of them are able to understand. None of them are able to understand. Because you require the blessings of a pure devotee. You require the blessings of Krishna to understand Krishna. To understand Krishna. Krishna may stand in front of you and you may not understand him. Duryodhana was standing in front of Krishna. He is looking at him like an enemy. I'll finish you. It's so pathetic. And you cannot do it. Although you may try to do it. You fail. But the devotee of the Lord is so excited to be in the company of Krishna. And his perspective is completely different. It's completely different. I want to serve you, my sweet Lord. By your mercy, I am situated in the reality and in the understanding. You see, that's why Arjuna in the 10th chapter, yesterday we were discussing this, in the 10th chapter, after Krishna has told him about his greatness, in the 10th chapter, and then he, between 8th to 11th shlokas, the famous Chatushloki of the Bhagavad Gita, he will explain very beautifully, therefore my devotees like me. He's explaining that I'm great, my devotees know me, and he's telling, therefore they like to hear about me. Katayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. I am very attractive. I am very great actually. You can fall in love with me. I am capable of attracting you for good. You will not be attracted to anything else in this world. He's explaining to Arjuna that. And I am very dear to them and I am fully absorbed with my devotees. I will go out of my way to make him understand me if he shows a little inclination. Tesham evanukampartam ahamagyan jam tamah nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena baswata. I will even give him all intelligence and understanding. He goes out of his way to explain what he does for his devotee. Right? And then immediately Arjuna responds by saying, he also gets very excited. Because it's Arjuna who is posing all the questions till now. And Krishna is patiently answering. And this is the first open response in the 10th chapter from Arjuna. Say, yeah, what you say is right. What you say is right. You are very kind to your devotees. You are very great. You are the master of everything. In those four shlokas, you can get the entire essence of Bhagavad Gita. And Arjuna responds to saying, what you are saying is completely correct. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. Ahustvam Rishayas Sarve Devarshi Naradasata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. You are the supreme abode, you are the supreme Lord, the supreme person, you are the supreme absolute truth. And I have heard this from Asita Devala Vyasa, and now you are yourself telling it to me. I completely believe in you. Sarvameta Dhritam Manye Yanbam Vadashi Keshava. And then he goes to say, Naite Bhagavan Vidur Deva na Danava. The Devas don't know you like this, like I am knowing you. Right? Vidur Deva na Danava. And neither do the other people, the Danavas also know you. They don't understand you. They cannot know you. Only the devotees can know you. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanyaschashma tattvata. So here, do not think that the Lakshmis, the goddesses of fortune there, Rukmini, Satyabhama, Kalindi, Bhadra, all of them, the 8 principal queens of Krishna, they, in their understanding, are not having anything material about Krishna, their relationship. It's completely based on pure love. Based on pure love of Krishna, and Krishna is reciprocating. But the people who watch, their consciousness is contaminated, and those who hear it, their consciousness is contaminated, so they think about it in a different way. That is unfortunate. But what's going on is rasa, relationship. And we are not able to understand it, we are not able to get into it, because we have a polluted consciousness. So to understand Krishna's pastimes, to understand Krishna, you need the blessings of the Lord. You need the blessings of a pure devotee of the Lord. And this is a very important point. You can't capture Krishna through your gyan, through mugging up shlokas, through just by-hearting things and then repeating them and getting name and fame. You can't understand Krishna. In the process, what you're losing is understanding of Krishna. But these great devotees, all these queens of Krishna, 16,000 of them were married by Krishna. Bhaumasura's wives, prisoners there. His hobby was collecting beautiful ladies. Today's we have a hobby, somebody collects stamps, somebody collects coins, somebody connects this, somebody has this. His hobby was collecting nice looking ladies. And he put them in the big palace and kept them there so he can enjoy them. What a hobby he has. 16,000 beautiful princesses and princes. Nobody will accept them now because they are wives of Bhaumasura, utilized by Bhaumasura. So when Krishna killed Bhaumasura, they all came to him and said, "Where are all your devotees? Nobody will accept us. Because we have Bhaumasura's people. You are only our destination. You must accept all of us." He married all of them. So, it's okay. 16,000 he married. Who is going to ask, "Hey, you're not supposed to do this"? It's giving them shelter. It's not about marrying them. It's not that he's becoming their wives and husbands. That's not a problem at all.
They're all asking for shelter, and they're all his devotees. And in the social system, it has to be marriage, then only he can be connected with them. He got married. 16,000 queens came to Dwaraka. Can you imagine how the event would have been? And each one of them one palace. They are the ones, it's mentioned, become completely attracted to Krishna because he's a supreme personality. And he's given them that opportunity. Because you are my devotees and you desire so, let it be so. In this pastime of mine, I'll have 16,108 wives. And who's going to ask you a question? Who's going to ask the absolute truth a question? What are you doing in the relative realm? You can think what you want about it. Krishna continues his pastimes. People can say whatever they want. Krishna is not afraid about what people will say in this world, therefore I shall not do it. Nothing is relevant in this world, actually. Only thing that is real is Krishna, his devotees, the process of devotional service. All these things are real. Everything else is not real. So what you may think in your mind, in your perception, is just in your mind. It's not real. What is real is Krishna is the absolute truth. You are a part and parcel of that Krishna. And when you render devotional service to Krishna, that is real. That is real. All other things that we may do, we may think, we may worry about, is not really consequential at all. But we spend so much of our time doing it and so less time doing Krishna conscious meditation. This is how we are fooled by the three modes. So, etad ishanam ishasya prakritisto api tat gunai. Although he may be situated in Prakriti, Prakriti sthani karshati is what is described about us. Mamaivamsa jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manah shashtanindriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Conditioned souls who are part and parcel of Krishna, separated from Krishna, struggling in the material world, being situated inside matter. Prakriti sthani karshati, struggling, grappling with the situation. But here it is mentioned, Krishna is also situated in the same place. But it says, Nayujyate sadatmastair prakritisto api tat gunai. Nothing can influence him. Nothing can. You are situated here, Krishna is also come here, but you and Krishna are not at all in the same position. Although you may find both of them in the same place geographically, the experience you have under control of material nature is not the experience Krishna is having. He is the master of material nature. So, although situated in this material world, prakritisto api na yujyate, he is not influenced by the material modes. That is explained here. So, what we should understand is, and the verse goes further to say, even devotees are like that. Pure devotees of the Lord are similarly free from influence. This is very important to note. How we discussed the other day how Narada Muni was freely moving around with the Asuras, and he goes to Devaloka, he also goes to Vaikuntha. He goes everywhere. He is a all-world preacher, including spiritual world. Some of us are preachers in the material world. We travel in small places here and there. We may at the most go globally somewhere here and there. But Narada Muni, Prabhupada called him a transcendental spaceman. He goes everywhere, even to the spiritual world. He goes everywhere, and he goes to the Asuras. They welcome him also because they see him as a perfectly transcendental person, nothing to do with the material world. And they relate with him, and he relates with them. And he gives them good advice also. How is it possible? How they don't have hatred towards Narada Muni? That is the main point. Asuras don't have hatred towards Narada Muni, but they have hatred towards Vishnu. I will kill him. Hiranyakashipu, you can see in the Bhagavatam, I'll cut his head and drink his blood. Hiranyakashipu is telling, he hates Vishnu so much. but he's very good friends with Narada Muni. It's very amazing. It's very amazing. He's very good friends. And Narada Muni is very good friends even with Ravana. He's good friends with everybody. How is that? That is what is very amazing. That's mentioned here. So also those who take shelter of pure devotees of the Lord, they also will be benefited by transcendence. So Krishna here, he is taking the role of a king, taking the role of a husband, taking the role of Dwaraka leader, everything. But he is not affected by any of that material situation. Similarly, a devotee, pure devotee of the Lord, is not affected by the material situation. He is in a completely different world. He may be physically here, but his consciousness is absorbed in Krishna. And he can do anything in the material world without getting affected. This is Krishna consciousness. And here the Bhagavatam is speaking the glories of such great pure devotees. They are also like Krishna, they don't get affected. Because they are under Krishna's shelter fully. And Krishna protects them fully. That's why we see in the pastimes of Bhakti Vinoda Swami Prabhupada how he did amazing things very casually, very happily. He enjoyed Krishna consciousness. Although he may have been working, 20 hours a day, 22 hours a day, and hardly taking rest for 2 to 3 hours a day, traveling, writing books and everything, he was always very happy. Always very happy. If I don't get proper sleep, I can become very drowsy and I can get angry with you and everything can happen to me. If I don't eat properly, I can get angry with you. Any material situation is disturbed, I am disturbed. But Prabhupada went ahead, and his consciousness remained the same everywhere, fixed in Krishna. Any part of the world, whether he has slept or he has not slept, whether he is sick or he is not sick, he can always speak Krishna consciousness and address you and give you that benefit. You can see, if you read the Leelamrita, you will see that. He's barely sleeping every day. Hardly sleeping. He gets up in the night and after everybody is gone to sleep, he starts translating. And he said, that is the best portion of my day. I am completely absorbed in giving these commentaries. So, it is possible for a devotee to be absorbed in Krishna and not be part of this world. Not be part of this world. In the Bhagavatam, you will see numerous instances, all great, wonderful devotees and their life histories. Prahalad, how we see his father tortured him in so many different ways. Nothing affected him. Nothing really affected him. He was very fixed. So, all these instances are related because it is possible for us to do that. We only have to decide to do it. Why it's not happening is because we have not fully decided. We still have lots of different types of attachments. And it is a reality for us. But when we hear these pastimes from the Bhagavatam and we hear these beautiful verses, we can get knowledge, we can get inspired, and we can start acting in that platform. And our situation is that we are in the process of sadhana, and gradually this is something that will happen to us. And there is no doubt about it, because it's mentioned in the scripture. If you follow this path, if you follow Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada's order, you will definitely reach that destination. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. Any question or comment? Yeah. Why he has to officially marry? Those details I did not ask Bhaumasura. How do I know? You don't need to be so gross. In Kali Yuga only we need to be so gross. In the Vedic system, if anybody stays with a man, that's all. He is as good as a husband. In the marriage ceremony, you put the matti in this thing and you walk with the so-called person who is going to be a husband, 7 steps. You walk 7 steps, she belongs to you. You're as good as wife. You don't need to, ask, oh, did you, and all that. So, that is 5,000 years back you're talking about. More than that, in Dwaraka, a pretty good cultured society, and Krishna is there. And they are all staying under the shelter of Krishna because he accepted them as his wives. So, I don't know whether Bhaumasura did this or that to them. Maybe we can do some research. But it is enough if a woman stays with a man, it's as good as a husband. Yeah, it's mentioned by Prabhupada. You can see that in many of the places. Even now they follow in some places. So they all were captured by Bhaumasura and they were imprisoned by Bhaumasura for his enjoyment. So, I am not officially married. You see, there is no registration of marriage. But I was with Bhaumasura for so long. But you can't prove that I am married. Because officially it's not registered. So therefore I am not married. Those are all Kali Yuga stuff. It's all as per paper. Everything as per record. Certificate. Document. But inside you're doing all sorts of nonsense. You're already the wife of so many people. But I am not married. Who's going to listen to this? Marriage has no meaning. They've gone beyond cultural stuff. So, I don't think that is a measure. Any other question or comment? Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.